for this afternoon's game. Todd Soper, once again, doing color commentary this year. Todd, welcome.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Now, we have a 60-minute timed game here. Todd, would you like to introduce who our contestants will be today?
Our contestants this year are Brian Sykes and Eric Johnfauno.
Which we should point out are both from my region, so
and
I don't care who wins.
Neither had been in the finals in years past.
That's right, Viridian 3, exactly right. All right, folks, the way this is going to work, these guys are playing in a sequestered room in the hotel, very deep somewhere in the hotel. We are not giving out the location, mainly so they can't escape.
We have 60 minutes of air left to breathe.
Exactly. We will be providing play-by-play and color commentary. We'll do a little game talk as well. We also have mics on the contestants above their heads, which you can't see in the frame, but we'll be able to hear a little of the game chatter back and forth between them. Now, these two have played each other before, in fact, extremely recently.
That is correct. They played each other in the fourth round of the finals.
Yeah, just a few moments ago, they just wrapped up that game. So, folks, we ask that you please give us your attention. Please cut the chatter down to a minimum if you can, so everybody else can hear the program as it's going on. And when the clock starts, the game will begin.
Since your first place going into this, if you're okay with that.
And the coin toss.
Todd? Tails. That's pleasant.
I thought that coin hit Evan 10 a little suspiciously.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay.
I was just going to say, we're going to be reading about this on the list in the next few days. All right, the game has officially begun. Great sign of showmanship there from Brian. Todd, from the weekend, what did you see? What can we expect in this game?
Well, we can expect Brian to be playing his Dominion mission-solving deck. This is slightly more unusual than what we've usually seen for the Dominion, a quick mission solver. He's apparently found a way to get them to pass dilemmas and solve missions rather quickly. And Eric is playing a straight P&Z deck, a Patrol Neutral Zone deck.
Okay, so a deck from the past and a deck you don't usually see in tournament. A lot of people don't bring Dominion to the tournament, but here we go.
And here comes the neutral zone.
As you're looking at it, that would be Brian on the lower part of the screen.
And we have an alpha quadrant and a gamma quadrant. They're into the dilemma phase now.
How much of the, as they say, anti-cheese cards can we expect to see today?
Anti-cheese cards we can expect to see a bit. Brian has set himself up to be able to download some good cards like Oof, Scorched Pan, etc., to be able to stop some of the other cheese out there, like counters and large hands.
One thing we noticed in both decks, you will see some Q flashes. Both players relying on some of that. Mm-hmm. We see Eric has Crystalline Entity. We saw a board cube there.
I'd like to take a moment to mention the Q flash actually, because that has been a big showing in this weekend's event, and it's been quite effective in getting people, installing people out, and taking vital personnel out from the mission attempts.
All right, we see a Maglock there.
Maglock, friendly fire.
It's been a while, you know?
Chulo of the dice. This would be Ryan's dilemma hand, yes. Berserk Changeling.
They're just getting their combos together.
Both players running a Q10, as most tournament players do.
Any good deck will have one.
And we should point out that prior to this game, both deck lists were checked very carefully.
Well, if we can, let's take a few moments to talk about what was seen in the weekend.
Absolutely.
The sorts of strategies that we saw. I played in the 8-round second day finals yesterday, semifinals rather, and we saw quite a bit of old style cheese, one might say. There was Q bypass. There were several decks of Q bypass. I know one made it to the finals today.
Now, how many people were playing with the protection against Q bypass?
Very few. I only saw a few that actually played with Writ of Accountability, and only a handful of others actually played with hide and seek. Now, the Q bypass didn't go undefeated, of course. It had its problems, but enough players were not playing with those counters that it was able to make a good showing.
What do you think the effect on the game has been for using the Q the referee, the Q icon cards, the suspending of play to download a card that might stop a...
I think it's made a huge impact on the game. Almost every deck I see is playing at least one or two Q the referee. To be able to recycle some of these counter cards and be able to give them some more flexibility in what they see and what they might be playing against in the metagame.
It is also, from my experience, seemed like it has maybe sped the game up slightly. You can take some cards out of your seed, run them through your deck because you know the Q the referee gives you the option of getting them when you need them. That's
correct, and there are other cards too that have sped the game up immensely. Two of them being Assigned Support Personnel and Defend Homeworld. These have allowed players rather, to get upwards of 10 personnel in play on the first turn. It'll be interesting to see how Brian sets up his dilemmas against Eric's P and Z, because that can be very vital. If you see the wrong dilemmas in the wrong place, Eric could just go through those like butter.
Now, Brian seems to be saving some of his dilemma plays to the end and choosing instead to seed some doorways. We see Q, the referee.
Left interchange. There we see Assigned Support Personnel definitely on the table already.
So you think Eric has a strategy for distraction by wearing that shirt?
Well, I think the judges have cleared him on that, so he'll be okay.
Evan and Kathy, of course, will be doing rulings for the game. So you have Space Door, Assigned Mission Specialist, Neutral Outpost. Pretty standard fare.
Mm-hmm. That would be Eric's hand there.
Almost to the 8-minute point for the siege phase.
I think it's important to note that Eric is playing it with one planet mission, one non-neutral zone planet mission, so that he has a place that he can see his outpost, and he won't be able to be affected by "I tried to warn you," which can be quite powerful against a deck or a mission setup that is all one.
What are the odds of getting hit with a balancing act? Do you see that very often?
I saw a couple balancing acts. I think it's not enough to truly be worried about, but I did see a couple yesterday.
Okay, it appears that the seed phase is over. Both players are shuffling their draw decks, and we're just about ready to begin.
Some sites are set aside there. No need for those. And the handshake.
And you remember that Brian did win the toss, and I believe opted to go first. So he will begin.
And we've got
Selection Therapy.
Derridix Advance, Lovar, and he has a senior staff meeting he's opening again, which is important because he's using that to get rid of the first dilemma underneath his neutral zone missions.
We see a Make It So and an Assigned Support Personnel.
Yes, let's go. For the young gentleman for free.
Brian goes first, playing a young Jem'Hadar for free. And Deos, he downloaded with Defend Home Roll, a very common maneuver for Dominion decks nowadays because Deos gives a free card draw every time a non-youth Jemadars enters play at his location. So that is an excellent card drawing mechanism for the Dominion. And he's going to use that to his full advantage to get his draw deck into his hand as soon as possible. And he flips a cue the referee.
At the end of turn action, I'll swap in a full Jemadar for a young Jemadar, draw a card for it. And draw a card for Garada. Yes. Double check that. Yes, Garada.
Showing Deos.
I'm gonna flip my space door.
And it is now Eric's turn.
First turn, and he's got probably, what, 4 or 5 characters on the table already?
Looks like.
Like we see a Kevin Uxbridge, AU Doorway, Scorched Hand.
That would be Brian's hand.
Discard it. It's down the floor.
Somebody's actually taking out your deck. Good on you.
Here we are.
Sure.
Downloaded lore with Defend Home Roll.
They're going to move the ship
Okay.
and undock. And I'm going to senior staff meeting.
And he plays a senior staff meeting, and it is Amanda Rogers. He plays another. There is no response to the second.
You already
Once you
initiated the
play a
mission.
senior staff meeting, the next action has to be attempting the mission.
Well, if it's nullified, then
It's still
none of
initiated.
the 6.
It's a condition for playing.
It has to be an action that takes place just before a mission attempt begins.
Sounds like they are
If it's
going
nullified,
through
then
some
it
rules
wouldn't
questions
have to
here.
be Just before a mission.
You're, by playing it, saying that your following action is going to be a mission attempt.
I believe the ruling was that the second senior staff meeting cannot be played because playing the first one says that your very next action will be the mission attempt, so he was not able to play the second senior staff
Yes,
meeting.
you can.
Okay, what's the integrity?
Integrity greater than 6, you can 7.
I don't have it.
And he stopped.
Stop by Jewel of the Dice.
That would be correct. Tim will be proud.
Why?
Young Jemadar for free to the Broken Chamber. My card's like 1 through 4. I'm going
Ooh.
Brian's hand.
to discard key the referee down.
That AU door that we see there is very important because Eric is playing many temporal rifts in the hopes of stalling out ships. And that means Brian will be immune.
You can download the Dragon Mission right now if you want. Because my next session.
That will be very important to this game. That AU door.
Okay, can I?
And Eric has played a cue the referee,
It's up to you.
or perhaps just moved it from
Are you
lower
gonna
on the
count
table.
it? Top it?
No,
Okay.
I'm not gonna count it.
Decide what you want to do. No action then?
No, actually.
Checking that. Okay, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll to the referee. We'll process the referee at time card.
He's recycling with cue the referee.
Okay, can you?
I do
I'll
not.
just be able to tell.
You can do it if you're just past your play a card.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, I will tell him.
Okay.
What had just happened was he played a Masaka Transformations on himself to get a better hand. That's important. Good job. He took the Amanda back to his hand so that Eric can't play his other senior staff meeting.
Who turns my hand? Draw a card for that to the dais. Draw a card, and my turn, your turn.
Okay, I'm going to Houston.
Target?
I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
It looks like
Dr. Tellermore.
Okay.
Eric is panicking a little.
Report him.
Use attention.
Alright.
He wasn't quite sure what he wanted to Keystone for.
These two are being to outpost. And the rest will attempt.
I will. Yeah, what, 3 hours yet? 3. Conditions? Integrity?
7,
Kind?
8,
Kind? 51.
Last jewel of the dice. No further dilemmas remain.
5 of dice.
So he's completed the mission for 50 points.
Wow.
50 is here. There was no mission specialist there.
No.
Now, what does Brian have to do at this point to stop him?
To stop him, Brian has got to get going fast to
Can
complete his
you
mission,
has an outpost?
or get a ship into the neutral zone and
Everyone else is moving here.
keep Eric from completing missions, but that's not going to happen.
And I'll see this happen.
Leadership present?
Yes.
Free stealth icon?
Do not lose them. No. Okay, and I will.
Don't draw any you can.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Young Gemini for free. The Sheer Founder for free. Draw my dollars, my card plus my card. I will cross with the my card.
He's got a couple Isabellas in his hand.
Reflection therapy, good card, change of skills.
He's nervous, you can tell. His hands are shaking very slightly.
I think one thing to remember, that room is very, very quiet. It's not in any way like the tournament environment these guys have been playing in all weekend long.
I got to say, playing in a World Championship final is a very harrowing experience. To be there, to realize every moment could cost you the World Championship or not.
Sure.
The choices you make carry so much more weight.
Sure. Over 17 minutes into this match, Eric has already scored 50 points.
My ship will move here. On the dock.
Why is this card assigned to full personnel and where is that card?
I believe so.
We can download card for like card.
Yes.
Okay, like it. I will this card assigned to full personnel.
And you do have catch the one.
Yes, I do. It's cancel every second for the outside stage like that. Okay, I'll draw a card. Card falling. Oh, wait, first of all, what will I have it for free? Card play will be a Dominion battleship.
Looks like that's the card you needed.
And what do you bet? He's going to head to the neutral zone. Unless he thinks he can start hitting missions quick.
I believe he's going to try and start hitting missions.
10. Leave Moving everybody's on headquarters will be global counter prop. This ship. They're all on the headquarters, catch someone is not counting down because it's on the planet for the headquarters getting hit. In the turn action, I will swap the better on into my own jump dark.
No, looks like he's ending his turn. He's going to give it one more turn probably before he continues on
Yeah, it's really good.
doing what he needs to do.
The Derek's advanced. Okay. Make sure. Okay.
The Major is probably quite proud of all the green she sees on the table right now.
Okay. These guys are undocking. And I'll move here. I'll down those.
The Romulans did win the World Championships last year.
That's what you have done.
Like Harry.
Yeah, that goes on the next place. You got to finish that thing in the time stuff. If I can find one.
Let's get Douglas some stuff.
Verify.
Yes. Would you like to get? Place this on top of my deck.
Okay.
I have,
And Eric's attempting another patrol neutral zone
who has
mission.
engineering security?
He played senior staff meeting successfully to get rid of the first dilemma.
Reserve 3 security.
Is that discarded?
Those are Maglock, 3 officers. Not even close.
No.
And he is stopped by Maglock.
Now, from what we've seen on the deck list, most of what Brian's dilemmas seem to be are some of the better stoppers in the game.
Yep.
Less so than the killers.
That's going to be important here because it's the stoppers that will delay the PNZ deck the most.
From what we've seen out of Brian's deck in the games he's played, is he wants to hit dilemmas very fast, solve them, get points, and get out of the game. So a stopper should be all he needs.
Mm-hmm. An unusual card Brian is playing with
Then
is,
come back to the birthing chamber for free.
we can see there is Extraordinary Methods. That's not a card many people play with. It's actually a card that was forgotten about and overlooked in the Deep Space Nine expansion.
Flash.
He's going to use that during his mission attempts to keep personnel from dying. He just put a revolving door on the Q flash.
Obviously a play that's met with the approval of the crowd here.
Everybody will attempt the mission.
And he's going to the mission attempt.
Scientific method.
Unless I play the most of the time, it's treachery. Science treachery. Science treachery comes 2. Science treachery.
He's passed on scientific method.
Sparkles. Science, medical, security, and number 1.
And he's gained 10 points from Barclays.
Personal mission off.
Looks like he stopped on the Sarjenka for the 5 points.
And that actually cost him in the final game of the championship. He did not stop at Sarjenka and got stopped shortly thereafter. Remember, Ryan had seen these dilemma combos within the last hour.
That is correct. So he knows what's coming. He knows how to prepare for it.
Does it have to be 3 different officers?
But he's still down by 50.
Yes, because they each must have a strength greater than 5.
And he's given his opponent another
I'm
turn,
going to turn.
which he could possibly pass that maglock and win the game. Stopping at that Sarjenka may possibly cost him the game.
Docking.
Doesn't look like he has enough officer though to pass it quite yet.
Everyone is sporting with their heads advanced. Well, these 3 are attacking Tomahawk and Lobot. And they will move here and attempt.
I will prompt this wall to flash.
Okay.
Because otherwise you win the game. That's not good.
He,
But this card is really good.
go through the cards first.
Okay. So for 3. Come on, keys plan. Give me keys plan. One keys plan.
Can you let it add and cut? Give me mine.
Brian pulled a big ace out of his sleeve on that one.
So if Q's plan comes out, I can let it.
Yeah, now it's all my fault.
First card. Okay, I will insert it right here. Now, hold on.
Oh, wow.
That was easy.
Amazing play.
That will mean Eric will have to go in for a third mission.
Yes, it is.
And of course, he didn't put that in the alpha quadrant either.
Nope. Put it as far away from his opponent as
Oh,
possible.
you're right.
Baseline, yeah. When you get it out of your tent,
Okay, that can exceed more than 1.
Looks like they made him put it in the alpha quadrant, though.
Yeah?
I don't know why.
I'll do 3.
Supposedly, you're supposed to be able to put the Keys planet in the Gamma quadrant if you choose. Because it is a planet with no point box.
Oh. That's 1 key. Okay, next one. Hide and seek. These are shit.
Very interesting.
I'll just do 1 right.
Okay, which one down?
No.
No, which one down? Third.
Okay. And finally, Q-type android.
Q-type android. Looks like he has his choice of officers here.
So it's got the center.
Malako's underneath Keys planet.
So you'll bounce up the mission.
Actually,
You may have lost.
I did.
So that ends the flash. Okay, I have an action on the mission attempt this written out. How else my flash?
Move 5 with it. There it is. Great.
Thank you.
Did you have the leadership after?
No, I found it on the key flash.
The explanation on the Q's planet, why that had to go in the alpha quadrant, was as a flash it has to play in the current space line.
Whereas if you played it from hand, then you can play it into any space line. Correct.
Not that that might make a whole lot of difference here right now.
All it takes is one fair play, and that Keys planet
Now,
is unattemptable by Eric.
We have your flash. You gotta be able to flash.
Sorry, unsolvable. This is a really tense game so far.
Flash two. Yeah? Alright, now I'm coming back for 3 to the birthing chamber. And jump back on card to play with me when this selection bar going on. Okay. You're about to agree with all the transition.
doesn't
Continuing with his
Keep on
mission
purple.
attempt?
No. 2 security. 1. And cunning. 10, 18, 27, 36, 42, 50. How many did you get? 12? 12. 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, Brian to the Q flash, and he has a lot of characters there.
Don't you love how they drag us into there?
And next time I'm okay. Join us.
One of my doors. Close that flash.
Rhetorical question.
Rhetorical question?
Complete mission on this attempt is correct alone, otherwise, split on the ship, ship must be nothing. Okay, the ship must be nothing but return one of my facilities until
Is it facilities or outposts?
Is it
it's,
I think facilities, but
Wait, 10 cards. Okay, so it's gonna fit one line then.
well,
I mean, so keep it there as a highlighter.
well, does it have to dock or?
It can't, it just would have to return to the location of facilities.
If I have to
So that rhetorical question's not going to do anything, really.
Now, had you hit it on the far end of the space line, that could be
Oh, fun.
devastating in a game like this.
Use something else.
Something else?
One, you've got equipment there, don't you?
Oh, yeah, okay. The plot just
Take
two of
it.
you. I use the bear, how's that? The bear can be a hide and seek. Okay, there's 16.
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got it. It's done. And
So universal, the hide and seek is yours.
Oh. Seek.
Commander and Bailiff?
okay, I pick a number 1 through 15. Oh wait, no, 1 through 14. So that's wait, so 1 through 14.
Because one is stopped and one is proxying for 9.
Okay.
Um,
Finish that one. 2. Ooh.
Goranagar. That's a 5-point personnel. That could hurt.
You know, if you win this game, I think it's good.
Just past the 30-minute mark. This game is a little over halfway over. Eric leads 55.
It looks like Brian just posted bail, so it's 55 to 0.
Ooh, sweet matchup. Because I'm only 15.
is he still in it?
No, he was removed when
Yeah, I put the jail.
adaptation. Oh, wait, if he posted bail, it's back in group.
Okay.
Current score is 55 to 10.
Okay.
Eric in the lead.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
He posted bail.
Nuts. Sucks. You got anything you need built at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried one. And another. I tried one.
Okay. So this team is continuing on through whatever else you can see. First line is enemy. Medical, science.
And that's 10 points because Laura is in play.
Yes, he was double for 10.
Okay, so check the mission conditions.
Current score 20 to 55.
Leadership. Leadership on Granagar might be a versatile guy. Security on Davis. Treachery on any number of people. Let's go cunning 8, 17, 27, 28, 35, 40, lots of it.
And he scores intelligence operation.
And the rhetorical question can go back to.
Yes, it does.
Does it, it's just,
Okay, so
Yes, it's 60 to 55.
Current score is 60 to 55.
we'll do our people back up. Actually, we're not going to beam the ship yet. We're going to return to the facility. I'm going to check something real quick. Okay. We'll leave the ship.
you do have to catch yourself up, or two.
I'd just like to comment there, we noticed we saw Kukulaka amongst the Jem'Hadar.
1-9.
I didn't know the Jem'Hadar had teddy bears.
Actually, the teddy bears are meant for the founders so that they don't die to firestorms.
And then leave that, yes.
Founders must have their security blankets too.
Sure.
This has to keep this in mind.
The little founder's banky. We need draws and Amanda Rogers. That'll be good for the senior staff meeting.
Yeah. 50 damage right now. Target. Senior staff.
And Eric, going back to the tent.
He's getting at senior staff meeting, as expected.
He almost has to expect the counter coming up.
That's correct. And there it is. Unscientific method. I believe that will kill Dr. Telekamura if he is present. Or Lovak, actually. Lovak is cunning of 8, and Lovak dies. Brian's getting rid of as many of the officers as possible. And a scientific method. Didn't see that one coming.
Looks like it was science. This is all set out. Yeah. So that stops me.
And Eric is stopped. Short one science, it looks like.
Sure. As devastating as Control Neutral Zone can be, Brian has done a very good job with these dilemmas to keep it from an easy win for Eric.
Not just the dilemmas. I believe the Amanda Rogers he is playing has been the key factor in keeping those dilemmas and making sure they can be effective.
The ship is here, though. That's right.
I think without the Amanda Rogers, this game would have been short and it would have been over by now. Sure. A little sign of frustration from Eric there.
In a game like this, you're almost hesitant to give up your turn because you think there might be something else you can do somewhere.
It's important to weigh all possible options. Absolutely.
I have a chance to nullify before the time to roll.
To nullify it before the counter meter or whatever?
Apparently a ruling issue.
Yes.
Okay.
Kathy needs new glasses.
Next, I do it after the selection, or after choking.
Yes. She will really hate the fact that that was just taped.
If I allow this to
Choosing target's card of initiation, so that comes first, and then you can nullify.
I have no card to play, unfortunately.
I know how you feel.
Actually, yeah, I need to see the card. Since Devin told me this works, I will discard.
Brian fingering his Q to F, discarding it to
That
get.
will pass you past.
I know,
the
but
card.
I would be cut.
Don't do that.
Okay. I'll reveal subjugate planet.
I have no idea.
Negotiation. And I'll put it, of course. For
Fighting words. Yes, that's kind
And
of
the family.
hide and seek.
Hide and seek.
Use the bear again.
Right.
Actually, the people stop my turn. Yeah, drop my card.
Brian had been using the strategy
Yeah, sure.
of closing the Q tent
That was
before attempting the mission. But
that was opened.
Bear plus one.
Eric discarded his space-time portal to download an alternate universe store to nullify the revolving door.
So it's. So it's 1 through 55. 4 left. There, I can get off, and I'm done. Next. Let me see. And again, pick a number 1 through.
Yet another Mandarin bailiff.
Got all the tape there. Use this equipment. Yes, that's the equipment. This is still in the way.
Could be costly. And he lets him take young Jem'Hadar. Big loss there.
The penalty box, I believe.
Penalty box, yes.
13. I thought it was captain.
Yeah, that's the track marker.
So 13%.
And yet another young Jem'Hadar.
Apparently, Eric is starting a daycare for the Jem'Hadar.
Well, rhetorical question wasn't.
It'll cycle back and then get revealed and it won't matter, pretty much.
Yes, it will still be revealed.
Yeah, it will be officially revealed.
Okay. Well, they all cycle back in, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
7. That was 7. So how many people did that?
I started with 14, I think.
14.
With everything. Everything about the flash.
Okay, and it'll cycle through one more time, and
Yeah.
then this one will be, that one.
Okay. Okay, now we continue on.
Yes.
Johnfauno.
And yet another crystalline entity.
We'll have it. Yeah. Medical science. Medical. And we'll have it.
And he's got another 10 points.
Wow.
I think I saw strength and strength, odd strength, because I was close before.
That's true. Fighting Words is on the table. Looks like they've overlooked that.
Well done. Well done. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, where are the others? Can I see the others?
Yes. One medical, 2 medical classifications. Science and showing you the rest, so I can't. Oh, there's 2 of them. I think that will hurt me. Not with the not sign the first skill on. So was 1%. Yeah. Ouch.
And all of Brian's personnel die.
Oh. Wow.
Crystalline Entity takes them all out. The Fighting Words took out Borath's Science, it looked like. And so he had 2 medical and 1 science, was unable to pass it.
And drops in my turn.
Okay, Todd, if you're Brian, what do you do now?
At this point, I'm not sure there's much Brian can do, but just hope to try and rebuild his crew and go and solve missions again, because that is what his deck is built to do.
And then move on to this ship. Move here.
And 2 missions have been completed now, so that is 105 to 60.
Either way, you thought 3.
At this point, I don't believe there is much Brian can do.
By the way, folks, we ask you to remain in your seats. Immediately after the game, we'll have the 2 contestants in to discuss the win, the loss, and the game in general. So please stay right where you are.
What surprises me is that Brian had an oof in his deck. He may have already discarded all his Q the refs, which is why he was unable to get to that.
Oh, yeah.
He did have the means to be able to overcome the Fighting Words, but I don't think they were in his hand at the time.
Can you make it back there? Yeah.
No oof there.
Hold up a second. I can really do my watching before this. And I can play the show that was moving between the swap.
Let's play it.
Okay, let's play that.
Okay, so yes, these guys are moving here.
Show it.
Science, medical. Yeah, that's game. That's game.
And that is game.
Okay.
Eric Johnfauno is the world champion of 2000.
All came down to a crystalline entity and a Fighting Words, pretty much.
It did. It was Fighting Words that got him.
And a card that almost went overlooked on the table. For those of you in the audience who perhaps don't play Star Trek, there is an amazing amount of detail, and you have to look everywhere, every turn, to make sure that you're keeping everything in place.
There's a lot on the board to keep track of, that's for sure.
All right, Todd, mistakes that were made, things that could have been played differently?
Mistakes, I did not see any mistakes being made. They both played their games very well. Brian, however, I think went into the mission attempt. I take it back, that was probably his one mistake. He went into the mission attempt knowing there was a fighting words on the table.
Which he probably just overlooked. We'll find out. We'll ask him here when he comes out.
That's correct.
To see if that is indeed what happened. But game lasted a little over 40 minutes. Obviously, some nervous moments on both players, and Eric really throughout most of the game looked like he was nervous, like he was frustrated, like he didn't think he was going to take this game.
It looked by all means, it looked that Brian had control of the game. It looked like he was about to go and complete some more missions for the win.
Oh, yeah,
But once that crystalline energy hit with the fighting words in play, the game just took a complete 180 turn and it was
Okay.
all there.
Folks, we'll have the world champion and the runner-up here in just a few moments, folks, as soon as they get their cards put together, and we'll talk about the game.
Specific space line, so you can pick one.
Yeah.
Attempting a mission.
Insert into space one from the Q one. Yeah, that makes perfect sense too. I'm surprised I never caught that.
Q rearranges the space line.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's consistent. I'm not arguing with it at all. I'm just not aware of it.
That's funny.
What was the final score?
The final score was
I missed it.
155 to 60.
Just one entity. Do you have anything else in mind? Because I gotta get this.